All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is June 24th. Happy Saturday to everyone out there. We got a jam-packed MLB slate to jump into today. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every game. We'll talk about the games. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games, but all my final plays will be in the pinned comment. Yesterday, another just 2-2, 1-1. We're having these all over the place. Another split down the middle night, which in gambling means you do lose a little bit off the top there. But we go 2-2. The Braves money line and Yanner Diaz do not come through for us, but the Twins and Rangers do. We got to be better. The last few days here, just kind of splitting it. Like I said, a 2-3 night, a 2-2 night, a 3-2 night, a 2-2. A little bit annoying, but nonetheless, guys, we look to bounce back today. Also, our parlay of the day yesterday did not hit either, but all good. We don't count that towards the record. We do that more for fun. I wish we did count it towards the record because if you remember last week, we hit a plus 754 parlay, so that would have been nice to have in the bank there. But nonetheless, guys, before we jump to the episodes, we got a couple things to talk about. First off, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. But that isn't the main thing to talk about today. The main thing to talk about today is the fact that enough of you psychos out there have hit the subscribe button in the past that we reached 25,000 subscribers. I legitimately cannot thank you enough. To celebrate, we have a limited edition tee here to celebrate. Again, it's a GBS. It has a little 25K underneath. It's going to be linked in the description as well as the pinned comment. If you want to continue to support, guys, it's a great way to do it. And these are going to be super limited. Once they're gone, we're never going to bring it back, and which makes sense. We're not going to celebrate 25,000 subscribers again, but go check that out, guys. Again, a link is in the description. It's $20 tee. If you do want to, join the community here and support me as well, because I cannot believe 25,000 you psychos out there decided to click that big red button. Yeah. Psychos, but I cannot thank you guys enough. Really does mean the world. We're not stopping here, but I do want to stop and smell the roses sometimes, and damn, this rose smells pretty good. So go pick up the tea, guys. I'm very, very excited for it, and yeah, it's a limited edition. It's kind of like a a milestone here. We're never gonna have this t-shirt again or anything like that, and we're never gonna hit 25,000 subscribers again on this channel. Like, that's now in the past, and it's been a crazy road to get here, but we're not stopping. It's a long road, and we're gonna continue to grind. But yeah, guys, if you want to pick up the tea, link in the description as well as the pinned comment. I'll put it down there. But one more thank you, and you know what? One more applause, and we're gonna cheer this one. One more applause and cheers, guys. Thank you very much for all the support. Couldn't do it without you guys, but let's go ahead and jump into the slate here. I mean, got a big smile on my face. I don't know how many times I'm going to reference how thankful I am in this video, but we shall see. Let's go ahead and jump into the first game here. We have the Cardinals taking on the Cubs here. Cardinals plus 118 dogs right now on most sports books. Cubs playing good baseball. They've won 8 of their last 10 games here. They're coming off of sweeping Pittsburgh in really dominant fashion. Those games went by like that. 8-0, 4-0, 8-3. St. Louis did take 2 of 3 in their last series. Actually, their last 2 series, they were able to take 2 of 3 against Washington and the Mets. But nonetheless, still not playing the best baseball if you kind of, expand that sample size. Only winning 4 of their last 10 games here. On the mound for St. Louis today is going to be Adam Wainwright. He's 3-1 with a 5.56 ERA. Justin Steele on the mound for the Cubs today. He is looking at a 7-2 record with a 2.71 ERA. In his last couple starts, he doesn't go deep into games. It's not really his MO anyways, but he's been pitching well. Adam Wainwright has had a very consistent sort of, 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 1.5 whip with like 2 to 3 strikeouts. He's been very, very consistent, but I do think that this Cubs team stays hot today, so I'm going to lean towards the Cubs on the money line. In terms of the total, we're looking at 13.5. I think that I'm going to pass on this one and lean slightly towards the under. Just a very, very high total, obviously. So I'm going to look at the Cubs money line. That's my main lean in this game. I wouldn't really look at either one of the, the run lines either. If you do want to pull the trigger on, trying to get some plus money, Cubs run line would be my lean. I think that if they win this game, they win it by a couple runs, but I'm not really considering a run line. I'll take the minus 130 on the Cubs all day long here for them to get the win today. All right, next up we have the Phillies taking on the Mets. Yesterday, Phillies get the win. I was very close to pulling the trigger on that one. Just could not get myself to do so. Wish we did. Sanchez on the mound for the Phillies here. He's got a 3.24 ERA, and the Mets have Max Scherzer on the mound. 4.04 ERA this season with a record of 6-2, and he looked great in his last start. He had a couple rough ones before that, but he went 8 innings pitched, 1 earned run, a .6 whip with 8 strikeouts in the win against Houston in his last start. And I'm thinking that the momentum kind of stays with him. I'm going to back Max Scherzer over Sanchez today. Sanchez, the team wins when he's been pitching, but, not all that great of a stud pitcher, right? Whereas Max Scherzer, obviously stud, like it proofs in the pudding, stud pitcher. So I'm going to lean towards a better pitcher today. Hopefully this Mets team can get kind of out of their own way from an offensive perspective. They have been scoring, 3 runs, then they'll score 7 runs, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're hot, right? 1 run, 2 runs. So they need to get some sort of consistency here, but I am really backing them because I think Scherzer's going to be able to keep down this Phillies offense. They scored 5 runs yesterday, right? But prior to that, their last 4 games prior to that were 1 run, 2 runs, 3 runs, and 3 runs. So this offense not necessarily cooking as of late, and Philly hasn't really performed as of late against good pitchers. Max Scherzer, if he has a normal day, is a good pitcher, right? So I'm going to lean towards the Mets in this one. We're looking at a total of 9 runs. I know that I want Scherzer to keep the Phillies down today, but I have a feeling this could be sort of a ball game, like back and forth. So this is a very distant lean in my, in my opinion, or what I'm going to roll with. But I do slightly lean towards the over, but I don't think I pull the trigger on that because I feel stronger about Mets money line, and I think the over kind of counters that. Like if this is a close game, it means Scherzer didn't, or if this is a bunch of runs scoring game, didn't mean Scherzer did his job, or means Scherzer didn't do his job. So I do think that I'm going to slightly lean towards the over, but that's with me having to independently take that from the line here or the money line here because I do like them to win the game today. I know that made tons of sense to you guys. Everything just makes sense up here and I say it out loud. All right, San Francisco taking on Arizona here, San Francisco coming off of the 8-5 win yesterday. The San Francisco team is cooking. They're rocking and rolling. Obviously, they've won 9 of their last 10 games. They've won 10 of their last 11, if I'm not mistaken. Walker on the mound for them today is 2-0 with a 1.56 ERA. Kelly on the mound for the Diamondbacks, 9-3 with a 3.1 ERA. He's having a sneaky good year here. Last start out, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, .57 whip, and 7 Ks. I really do love that. I think Walker is one of those opener type pitchers, so it really comes down to San Francisco's bullpen. But in terms of a lean here, I don't know why I keep not believing in the Giants, but I'm doing it again today. I expect a little bit of a bounce back here from Arizona, which maybe makes me a crazy person, but I'm going to lean towards Arizona. I'm also going to take a peek at the over 8 runs in this one. It's nice weather. We got 14-mile-an-hour winds blowing directly out to center field. Meteorologist Ev checking in, but I do think that this is going to be an over-type game. Again, yesterday 8-5. I don't see any cause for concern in terms of them being able to replicate that. So I like the over as well as the Diamondbacks, but I'll admit, maybe I'm just an idiot, or maybe I'm the psycho in the room not believing in this San Francisco run. All right, before we get to the Baltimore-Seattle game, I do want to drop a hashtag ride of the day, guys. If you want to be a chance to be featured in tomorrow's video, all you got to do is use hashtag ride of the day. Give me an absolute banger of a pick, and if I do jump on board with one of you guys will get a shout out in tomorrow's video, win or loss. So go ahead and do that, guys. Give me your best play in the comments. Hashtag ride of the day. We got the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Mariners. I liked Seattle yesterday, but didn't see this game going this way. 13-1 victory for Seattle here. And I'm going to run it back today in terms of lean. I think this has a strong chance of being a final play as well. You guys know that I've talked highly of the Orioles to some degree. I don't hate this Orioles team. I actually think they have a lot of young guys. They have some guys that can put the ball in play, some decent pitching, right? But the Seattle team, I do think is kind of catching a stride or starting to look good, even in some of their losses too, I will admit. So I'm going to back them yet again today. They're coming off of 2 games here where they've just looked great. 10-2 win over New York to close out that series, right? And then they go in 13-1 stomp the Baltimore Orioles. If this team's about to heat up, I don't want to miss the boat. So I'm looking at the Mariners, backing Bryce Miller as well, 5-3 with a 3.68 ERA on the season, coming off of 2 great starts. Last start, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, .57 whip, and 6 Ks. And you are looking at a pitcher on the other side that, yeah, he's been pitching okay and well in plenty of spots. Like I said, I have nothing really bad to say about the Orioles. It's more or less that I'm kind of predicting this Seattle team kind of gets going here, and I don't want to miss that train. So I like them on the money line today. In terms of the total 9 runs, I think it'd be silly to consider the under today. It doesn't mean you have to take the over, but when a team's scoring double-digit runs and they're kind of seeing the ball well, no matter who's pitching, different teams, different stadiums, it don't matter, okay? I'm going to lean towards the over here. Whether or not I pull the trigger on that's still, time will tell. I don't feel 110 confident in the over. I could totally see Seattle going and scoring 5 to 6 runs today, still getting a win, but not coming close to an over. But I just don't think it's smart necessarily to risk that chance of the under because their bats are just so hot right now. All right, Yankees taking on the Rangers. Rangers get the job done for us today. And I know I mentioned it in yesterday's video, but you guys got to keep me honest, okay? I feel like I'm starting to bet the Rangers almost all the time, like I did the Cubs, just a few weeks back, where all of a sudden that started to come back and bite me in the ass. So keep me in check here, guys, in the comments, if I'm just consistently taking the Rangers. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, you are, dude. But they are playing decent baseball. They've won 6 of their last 10. They won 5 of their last 6 games here. And I like this Rangers team. I don't know how I feel about their bullpen. That always scares me when the starters come out. They're like a choke job team waiting to happen. But nonetheless, I do think that I look at the Rangers again today against the Yankees. Coming off, like I said, the win yesterday here. And I like this Rangers team because they can win the close games, low-scoring games. They can win the blowout games or the high-scoring close games, that type of thing. But Luis Severino on the mound for the Yankees. He's really yet to prove himself to me this season, that's for sure. 2 losses on the season here, 6.3 ERA. He hasn't been able to go deep into games yet, and he's not really striking out a ton of guys. Going up against Gray on the Rangers, who has been pitching phenomenally, but had a terrible start last time out. He's 6-2 on the year with a 2.96 ERA. The dude was dealing, and then he goes and plays against Toronto. 2 1/3 pitched. Yikes, I don't even want to read this out loud. 2 1/3 pitched with 6 earned runs. He let up 6 hits, 3.86 ERA, and only 2 strikeouts. How does that even happen? How does that even happen? So I'm hoping that he bounces back today. It's the one thing that I'm a little nervous about today, that he could be a head case now after that terrible performance. Hopefully not. Hopefully he comes in and does what he has been doing for the majority of the season. That was by far and away the most runs that he has let up. In fact, I think you have to go back like almost to the beginning of May to even have his total runs allowed in his last 5-6 starts before that add up to 6 runs. So a little crazy there, but nonetheless, guys, I'm going to lean towards Texas. In terms of the total, 8.5, I don't hate it. I usually feel like, when we see this Texas team have a low-scoring game, they kind of come back and drop a bunch of runs. Maybe that happens today, but I am more on the Texas money line than I am on the total of this game. All right, the next 2 games are puzzling to me. Yesterday, Oakland beats Toronto here. They win 5-4. I know I said I didn't really have any much of a lean or anything like this, and Toronto was something that killed the parlay of the day as well. That was the money line. But this Oakland team, when they are underdogs here, they're just covering their run line. Again, I said that in yesterday's video. I don't know if I have the cojones to pull the trigger on them, right? But nonetheless, they are covering when they are underdogs, whether they're winning games. Obviously, you cover if you win the game or not. They're keeping the games close, which is kind of crazy to me. So as weird as this is going to sound, I'm going to lean towards the Athletics today. I do not think I make that a final play, guys. I just don't necessarily trust this Toronto. I'm waiting for this Toronto team to get it going, right? And it's like, how long am I going to wait? I've been saying since the beginning, a couple weeks into the year that, hey, guys, Toronto's going to go on a streak at some point. I don't know if that's the case. They just don't look, as consistent as I'd like at this point. And I know it's crazy to lean towards the Athletics. I'm not telling you to do it either. I'm just saying I don't really want to pay -260 here for the Toronto Blue Jays. That doesn't seem worth it to me. So by default, I'm going to look at the A's. Now, if I were to make this a final play, I would take the safety net and look at Oakland on the +1.5 for +115 odds still. But like I told you guys, I don't know if I have the cojones for it. In terms of a total, I do like the over here because I think if Toronto is to bounce back, they are going to score a lot of runs. And even though Oakland has been very inconsistent, they still have scored over 5 or more runs in 2 of their last 3 games here. So maybe they go and do that again today, but I don't know if anything makes the final plays from this game, but I did want to just address it. It's just crazy. Like this Oakland team, how many times are they going to surprise me? They went on that win streak, then I'm like, it's going to end, right? Like 3 more games come through and they continue to win. And then all of a sudden we look at, they go on like an 8-game losing streak, and I'm like, they're back to reality. And they smack a team in which they were +255 underdogs yesterday. Puzzling to me. And talk about puzzling, I actually don't think the Cincinnati run is puzzling at all. Like, are we able to say, and maybe I'm just late to the party, that this Cincinnati team is just legitimately a good team? They have the young guys, they have the veterans. Somehow their pitching is pitching better than you probably would have thought that they would. And they beat a team yesterday in Atlanta. Atlanta scores 10 runs. And Cincinnati's like, all right, we'll score 11. You know what I mean? We'll go out there and do it. Ellie De La Cruz hitting for the cycle. Like, it's pretty cool what the Cincinnati team is doing. And I'm wondering, like, at what point is it just official that they're a really good team. Like, again, today, they're underdogs against the Braves. I almost want to lean towards the Braves. I think the public is going to be all over the Reds, but, we'll see where that kind of shakes out. What I actually like in this game is going to be the under. I think both teams kind of snap back a little bit today, and we see less than 12 runs scored. So my main lean in this game, and well, yes, I love both of these teams, I'm going to lean towards the under. You can have, which is crazy, you can literally go out there and have a 5-4 or 6-5 game and still hit the under here. You know what I mean? Like, that's a high scoring game. So I'm not buying into the line adjustment of, oh my God, it was 11-10 yesterday. We got to bump this total all the way up to 12 here. And both these teams can score. So can they get over 12? No kidding. Vegas isn't an idiot, or they're not idiots, but I do think that they come back down to reality just a little bit today. So I'm going to lean towards the under, but I'm very curious to see where this Cincinnati streak goes, in all honesty. Like, they are absolutely crushing it right now. And I like this Atlanta team too. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Braves win today, but nonetheless, the Cincinnati team, this is pretty fun to watch. A very young, fun team, which doesn't really happen all that much in baseball. You'll have like the young studs that you like, right? But to have a couple, 2-3 guys that are young studs on a same team is pretty cool in baseball. And speaking of studs, you may or may not be a young stud. You might be an old stud, but you still nonetheless could be a stud, because if you guys decided to check out Outlier, you could become a betting stud, guys. You can start betting on Sports Smarter, start winning more. You can use this tool. It is an amazing research tool. It goes through and looks at every single prop that is available for players on FanDuel, MGM, Caesars, and DraftKings, guys. It is very, very cool. And you can go ahead and analyze each and every pick, go in there and see, okay, well, Leo Tavares only has one double in his last 20 years. He only has a few on the season. Maybe we take his under. Well, the odds aren't all that great. You can go back, browse around. They also have a games tab, which I really do love, guys. It shows the trends of each team. When you're like, oh, the Giants have won 9 of their last 10 games, pretty damn easy to see that. Or when we're recognizing that the Athletics, have covered in 7 of their last 10 when they're plus 1.5. Boom, there you go. It is a very, very cool thing. You can also go down and look at the betting public versus the money out there as well. So the percent bets as well as the money. And then they have this trends tab, which is crazy, guys. It goes ahead and identifies things that you might not necessarily find yourself. JD Martinez failed to exceed 0.5 RBIs in 8 of his last 9 games. It's minus 160 over on DraftKings. Say we like that, right? Okay, well, we can click it right here. It's going to add it to our picks. Say we also like Shohei Ohtani, exceeded 1.5 total bases in 11 of his last 12 against opponents with a losing record. Why would we ever be able to find that ourselves, right? Click that. Okay, well, let's go over here. Let's take a peek. Shohei Ohtani, minus 150 on DraftKings. JD Martinez, minus 160 on DraftKings. We can literally continue to DraftKings because we selected it right from this screen. And without having to click anything else, it's going to go ahead and put these bets in our bet slip. So we don't have to go and dig and find it. You could parlay it if you want. It is very, very cool, guys. I highly encourage you to go check out Outlier today. I've been talking about them for plenty. But use that link in the description or the pinned comment for a 7-day free trial. You'll fall in love with it. That's the only risk you're on. I keep making that joke. You go in thinking it's a freebie, and all of a sudden you leave after 7 days, knowing the value that it has is well worth what you have to pay, which is $19.99 a month. Go check it out, guys. Use that link in the description, even if it is just for the trial. Like, think about that. 7 days of that amazing tool. Just go check it out. I don't know if Outlier wants me to say that, but nonetheless, it's worth it, even if you do want to just roll the free trial. All right, Miami taking on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh bounces back. Yesterday, they were plus 180 dogs. They take the win after losing game 1 of this series. In terms of who's on the mound for them today, we have Osvaldo Biro. I tried to say that correctly and just botched it because I can't say names for crap. He's 0-1 with a 3.6 ERA. Brian Hoeing on the mound for the Marlins, 1-1 with a 2.7 ERA. I really only have one strong lean in this game, and it's going to be towards the over here. We're kind of yet to see either one of these offenses explode. Not that I expect them to explode. I do think the pitching can up a decent amount of runs today. So we saw a 10 spot in game 1 of the series. It was 6-4, right? I think that this is more or less tracking towards that versus yesterday, which is a 3-1 game. There's just better pitchers on the mound yesterday, all things considered. So I do think that this one is going to go up and over. I think that, both these pitchers are only going to give you maybe 3 to 5 innings, 6 innings if you're lucky. Then the bullpens can come in. I do think that we clean up on an over today. So I don't really have a side lean, maybe just Pittsburgh for the money, but I don't really have any confidence in that. I do like the over more than anything. All right, Red Sox taking on the White Sox, the battle of the Sox. You like them red, you like them black, you like them purple, you like them anything, who knows? I do think that this is kind of going to be a similar game as to yesterday, or this series is going to be similar. Yesterday, Red Sox win 3-1, but I don't see much from the offensive side of either of these teams. I thought the Red Sox were about to get hot. I said that a couple videos back, but then their offense just cools down. And this White Sox kind of same boat. You know, they had a high-scoring game against Texas, I believe. And you're like, oh, is the offense cooking? No, it's a one-game thing. So I'm going to consistently kind of look at the under in these series, or in this series, excuse me. But they do have Lance Lynn, which is, you know, the king of L's here. He spells his first name with an L and his last name with an L. 4-8 with a 6.51 ERA. I know I kind of crap on him, even though he had been pitching well, but still, the guy is going to let up a decent amount of runs, so kind of, you know, infringes upon my under theory here. But nonetheless, I think Paxton's going to go out there and pitch a decent game today. So if this is a one-sided affair, I do like it to be an under, and I think it will be. So I'm going to lean towards the under. In terms of a side, I like the Red Sox in this spot, but they have been super inconsistent as of late. They've won 7 of their last 10. They went on a little bit of a streak, but those 2 losses against Minnesota, one was the extra innings, and it's like a scheduled loss the next day. They lose 6-0. They pitched someone. Everyone that pitched in that game didn't start on the team that year or something like that. It was kind of crazy. So I don't know where to come out on their consistency. So I'm hoping the losses are the anomalies and not necessarily some of the wins that they had. So I'm going to lean towards Red Sox money line as well as the under in this one. All right, well, a good team plays a bad team, and Tampa Bay seems to be the only team that did what they're supposed to do in these situations. Yesterday, they win 11-3. Plenty of other teams that were like minus 250s lost yesterday, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, this Kansas City team is really nothing to get excited about or anything like that. I'm going to lean towards Tampa Bay on the money line in some sort of a parlay. I don't think we're going to throw out a parlay today unless you guys overwhelmingly respond, yes, we want another parlay in the comments. But you guys know, I mean, quick side note, side story, I don't parlay all that much. I like parlays for the fun and for the potential big winnings of it, right? But in terms of actually analytically betting and doing the smart thing, parlays are the fun thing. Like, they're not the long-term success type thing, unless you're just, you know, ridiculously lucky or incredibly good. You know what I mean? You're way better than me if you are, you know, winning parlays long term. That's the only way you bet. Congrats. I'm not going to take that away from you, but I just don't throw them out there all that much. And sometimes they're tough to build too, right? Like, baseball makes it easy because there's so much going on. But nonetheless, guys, let me know if you want to parlay. I don't know if we'll pull the trigger unless I'm seeing like hundreds of parlay comments. I'll be completely honest. And on that note, if you're still watching here at the 21-minute mark, drop 21 in the comments. I love the fact that we dropped some Sandoval's in the comments, and people were getting so confused yesterday. I don't even know what we could do like that moving forward, but I'm thinking we do like some hot take comments where we say something that is so wrong. Like, I think that this Kansas City team's going to win the World Series. And we get a bunch of you guys to comment that. People that don't make it deep into the video, they're going to be like, what is going on here? I don't know. It's the way my dumb, weird brain works. Sometimes you could fade me. It's okay. But guys, nonetheless, back to the game. Charlie and Rays on the money line here in terms of a parlay type pick. That's where I'm looking. I still don't even like the value at -1.5 or -125. Then in terms of the total, you're getting even odds over on DraftKings for over 9. I'm going to look at that. That could be a final play. Probably not, but nonetheless, I do like that. All right, guys, if you are into the thing that's hot right now, which I am as well, the daily fantasy player prop pick'em type format betting, guys, you got to check out Sleeper. I've been telling you guys about Sleeper for a little bit now, and it's just worth checking out. Like, I promise you that. I always tell you guys, any ad reads or anything like this on the channel, I'm going to keep fully 100% transparent. Like, I'm not going to promote something that I don't use or don't like. Sleeper is very cool, and it distinguishes itself from the prize picks of the world, the underdogs of the world, because they have dynamic payouts. So it's not necessarily 2 for 2 equals this, or, you know, a 2 for 3 flex equals this. No, they have each and every pick holding their own value, much like real sports books do. So you could take the over on this guy for 1.66x, and then you take the under on this one for 1.96x. You put together, you get a different type of dynamic payout and multiplier for each and every pick, and you can win up to 100 times. Now, is that realistic? Hell no. But you can do it. Like, you could put in a bunch of picks together and win 100 times, right? Like, you can only put in maximum 5, 6 on most of these apps. I would highly encourage you guys to go check out Sleeper. Very fun to use, like very, very fun to use. Use that link in the description as well as the pinned comment. You're gonna get 100% of your first deposit match. You throw in $100, that's just free money that they're giving you to play with. Super, super quick, easy to withdraw, easy to deposit, things like that. You know, I've tested that. I like to test those with these apps. The withdrawal, is it hard? Is it easy? Literally takes like a day to get to your bank account. It's as easy as that. So go check out Sleeper, guys. If it's legal in your state, I really, really do recommend you sign up. Use that link in the description as well as the pinned comment. Just a new, unique DFS pick'em type app out there, and I do really like what they've done to kind of distinguish themselves, make themselves unique. All right, let's get back to the slate here. We are looking at Milwaukee taking on Cleveland in this one. Freddie Peralta on the mound for the Brewers, who are coming off of that 7-1 win yesterday. In terms of who's on the mound for Cleveland, we're looking at Tanner Beebe, 3-2 with a 4.05 ERA. I've gone back and forth in this one. I think Milwaukee obviously may be starting to heat up, but I'm going to lean towards Cleveland here. I think that this is, a case of two teams that are just very similar in my book and also very inconsistent. Like, you think about Cleveland, their last game against Oakland, they win 6-1, then they lose 7-1. Milwaukee lost 5-1, then they win 7-1. So maybe I'm the psycho in the room here, kind of seeing a trend, but I think that this is going to go like Milwaukee blows them out, then Cleveland blows them out, then Milwaukee blows them out. I could see that happening. So I think it's Cleveland's turn today, as silly as that sounds. And I also like the under in this game as well. We're sitting at 8 runs right now. I think this one is going to be more like a 4-3, 4-2 type of ball game. And if it's not, then we kind of cashed what I said earlier. It's going to be like a 6-1 type game, which still will hit the under. But at the very, even if this is a competitive game is what I mean, I do still think that this one is like a 4-2, 5-2 type game. All right, Tigers taking on the Twins. Twins got the job done for us yesterday in that 4-1 win. One of our winners from yesterday. One of our only 2 winners from yesterday, so I should note that. Pablo Lopez on the mound for the Twins. Reese Olson on the mound for the Tigers. What can you say about this game? I do think that this is a Twins game again. I just don't like this Tigers spot. I think Pablo Lopez gets the job done today. For -155 odds, I'll probably strongly consider that for the final plays. It might stay off, but I do like the under in this game as well. Similar reasons as to what we just talked about. For Cleveland and Milwaukee. I think this one is going to be a one-sided affair, and if it's not, I don't think that this is like a you score, then we score, and you kind of ladder up to a bunch of runs scored. I think if it's a close game, we're looking at a 5-2 or a 4-2 game, if you even consider that close. So I do like Minnesota here on the money line as well as the under. All right, Dodgers taking on Houston. This Dodgers team is just playing really close games as of late. They win yesterday 3-2. Good offense, and there's not scoring a lot of runs, which is kind of interesting. But Bobby Miller on the mound for them today, and then Ronald Blanco on the mound for the Astros. I don't know all that much about Blanco, so I'm not going to try and act like I do. I just know that he's been, kind of a consistent 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, mid 1 point whatever whip with, a couple strikeouts here and there. But I haven't seen him pitch this season. Bobby Miller, I've seen plenty. Has a bad start last time out. I think that the Dodgers bounce back in this one. I don't hate them on the money line here, but I also don't love them on the run line. So if we were to kind of talk about where I stand in this game, I think the Dodgers win this game, but if we were to pull the trigger on some sort of bet, I might actually look at Houston +1.5, because like I said, the Dodgers, even when they're winning as of late, they're not scoring a lot of runs, they're not blowing anyone out. So I'll take the safety net of Houston to potentially lose, but still cover that 1.5. So we'll see where I end up in the pin comms. I just don't think that the value is there for the Dodgers, -170 to -175. For the way their offense has been playing, that just is too high of a price for me. So I don't hate Houston, kind of middling that right there. LA wins, but Houston keeps it close type of thing. In terms of the total here, we're looking at 9 runs. Similar reason as to what I've been saying. I haven't seen the offense kind of spark for LA here. Houston, been up and down in terms of offense. I'm going to lean towards the under 9 runs. Hopefully these pitchers can get the job done today. All right, San Diego taking on Washington. We do not know who's pitching for San Diego today, but nonetheless, I'm still going to take a peek at them. They won by 1 million yesterday. Gray on the mound for the Nationals, who I don't hate, but he's nothing special, so I'm going to lean towards the Padres. But again, I kind of want to see who's pitching before we make any sort of true lean, so I'm going to lean towards the Padres and the under, because I just don't think this Padres team can keep up this scoring for that long. They've scored 10 runs in one game, following it up with 13 runs yesterday, so I'm going to lean towards that. But again, a lot of question marks in this game, so sorry for kind of blowing through it, but I'd love to know who's pitching before we make, we stake our claim there. All right, we got Colorado taking on the Angels. Was I the crazy one that leaned towards the Rockies yesterday? I mean, I'm not going to lie to you and gas myself up like I bet it and pulled the trigger on it. I didn't do that, but I did think that they would take this game, and they did, or at least I leaned towards the Rockies +1.5 on the run line too. The under did cash there. Obviously, we kind of are a truther or a non-believer, I guess, in the unders or the overs here when it comes to Colorado. Again, at home this season, they've had more unders than they have overs. Let that sink in. It's because they're just not that good of a ball club. You know what I mean? And the Angels, though their bats were cooking, they have lost a few straight here, 1, 2, and 3. Now, it's good competition. They lost 2 against the Dodgers, who obviously beat them. And like I said, we were just talking about the Dodgers a few games ago. Like the Dodgers just narrowly beat them, but that's because the Angels' bats went cold. They scored 0 runs in 2 straight games. So in terms of the day, I do think that this is still a spot where you kind of bet Rockies if you are betting. I know. Crazy, but it's just because of the price that you're paying for the Angels right now. The way that they're playing, they're not a minus 155 type team. So again, similar to yesterday, I'm not encouraging you to bet the Rockies, necessarily, but I am saying make sure you're paying an appropriate price for a team that you think is going to win. A bunch of people probably got burned yesterday with the Angels at minus 155 because they're like, oh, they're playing the Rockies. The Rockies stink. But in this sort of small sample size, the Angels haven't been there. The Angels haven't been an angel themselves. You know what I mean? So just make sure you're paying a smart price. Minus 155 is way too far out of the price range for the Angels, no matter who they're paying in my brain right now, because there's always a line in odds and sort of an ROI on what you could win if you do hit, and I don't think the risk is worth that reward for the Angels right now. So I am going to lean towards the under again. I like that spot. I don't know if we pull the trigger finally on it. I feel like the time that we actually pull the trigger on it, it's going to go like 15-13 final score, and I'm going to be like, yep, I was wrong. But nonetheless, guys, I lean towards the Rockies, probably on the run line, if in whatever, alternate universe we do pull the trigger on it, as well as the under. And guys, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Yeah. Happy to be hitting 25,000. I'm not going to get complacent. Don't worry about that. I saw a couple comments yesterday being like, oh, you still got to grind. And I'm like, who said I wasn't going to grind? But guys, if you do want to pick up the tee, go ahead and do so. That link is in the description as well as the pinned comment. $20 helps support me, and you get a very cool t-shirt to kind of celebrate the moment that we had together. Was it good for you? Because it was good for me. But I'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.